Hello, my name is Ezreen Owl and I'm running for Duluth City Council at large. A little bit about me before I begin. My family and I immigrated from Bangladesh when I was 3 years old. I was raised in Minnesota with the values of hard work and giving back to your community in service. I was raised in a working class, small business owning family, and I've seen my parents struggle and walk the path together with their community. When they struggled, their community showed up, and whenever they could, my family showed up for their community. And that's how I learned what solidarity is, and that's what I want to bring. I moved to Duluth a few years back in pursuit of work in nonprofit and service and education. And in that time, I fell in love with the city, the lake. I fell in love with the community in this town, in this amazing city. During my time here, that doesn't mean that I haven't faced challenges. I've faced a lot of adversity, but in walking through those with my community, I was able to find my voice. I currently work as a youth advocate with at-risk and homeless youth at a local nonprofit. I also work as a program advocate with Mentor North. And I serve on the NAACP Executive Board, and I also am a volunteer through PAVSA. My work and dedication through my community shows in my past work, and it will continue to show because that's where my heart is as I walk forward. And that's what I want to bring to the Duluth City Council. I want to bring an equitable lens of all the issues that affect us to our core and our community members. I want to address affordable housing, transportation access, protecting our lake and our beautiful environment and our parks, making sure that they are accessible to all ages, especially our youth. And everything I do, I want to make sure we are addressing racial and class equity and justice. Because building a healing community together requires all of us to walk forward, hand in hand, and address the concerns that we face on a daily basis. I want to be on Duluth City Council to raise the voices that are often unheard or not brought to the table. And I want to be an advocate for my city, and that's why I'm running for Duluth City Council at large. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Castaldo, and I'm a West Duluth gal. I grew up in Gary, Lincoln Park area, and Piedmont area, and this is a community that I love so much. I'm deciding to run for Duluth City Council at large because I grew up thinking that this city wasn't always cracked up to me, but when I moved away for a couple years, I realized how important Duluth is and how grateful I am for this wonderful city, and I decided to come back and serve the best way that I can with public service. My platform is strong workforce, accountability, conservation, and family focused. I want the city to be a safe place for all families to grow and live, and I want to see people with the highest quality of life possible. I would appreciate consideration and support. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pez Davila, and I'm running for City Council at large here in Duluth. I'm originally from New Jersey, been in Duluth about 5.5, almost 6 years now. Went to UMD, studied education and political science, and now I'm the program director down at Neighborhood Youth Service in Duluth, working with the community, a lot of the youth, a lot of families here, and just helping people get connected here in the city. Running for City Council, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been interesting too, and great just learning and meeting different people and some of the issues that they have and want to see addressed and talked about. And some of the things I would love to address if I have the opportunity to be on City Council is integrating Duluth. We have a lot of people moving here to the city from Chicago and Minneapolis and Milwaukee and Madison and all over, wanting to escape a certain life, and they get here in Duluth and they just feel like they aren't really welcome or part of the community. A lot of people get stuffed into 2 streets, 3rd and 4th, and sometimes down on 6th, and then those places get designated as the hood and a bad area. I would love for us to look at ways to integrate different areas in Duluth and move people around so they feel like they can be a part of the community, so they can find different jobs and different opportunities that will be good for them and their family and better them as who they are. Going along with that, just addressing some of the crime that we have here, and that's been rising a little bit. Getting and creating events where the community can meet the law enforcement and just get to know each other as who they are, not just a person that has a badge and a gun, but see that they are human just like us, that we can help destroy that narrative of all cops are bad or all people that look like this act this way. But just interact a little bit and talk and ask questions and get to know each other. And then we can understand each other a little more. I support police here, and they do a lot of good work in our community, and they come down to neighborhood youth service a lot and just work with our youth, and it's been really good interacting with them as well. Next thing I want to talk about is housing and affordable housing. We have a lot of housing going up and big apartment complexes going up in Duluth, but a lot of them are real affordable. But just figuring out ways to work alongside with the cities and local developers where we can create places that are nice, that people can live in, and it doesn't break the bank. And just figuring out what those roads are to get there. Also want to talk about and address education. And we work, like I said, working with a lot of youth. We have a lot of students that ask, okay, what if I don't want to go to a 4-year college? Well, around here, there's a lot of different construction companies and a lot of big trades and things going up. And I want to help our youth and young adults and whoever else is looking for a path and a career to get into trades, learn about vocational skills, painting and woodwork and welding and things of that nature, because there's opportunity to do that all around Duluth, and a lot of good businesses that do that as well. Also want to continue to see how we can help support local business and bring more business here in Duluth where we can keep more college students here in Duluth. A lot of people go down to the city. Our two biggest fields here in Duluth are healthcare and construction. So figuring out how we can bring more businesses in where more college students will stay and we can put more back into this community. One slogan I stand on is people over politics, and I believe that our people come first, and I always stand on that. Sometimes we look at one side or another and think, well, if I'm not on this side, I have to be on this side. And I want to help destroy that narrative where we can talk about different things and come to solutions that is good for everyone, not just support one entity or another. But this is who I am, and thank you for your time.
I'm Duluth architect Tim Meyer. I've lived in Duluth now for 31 years, coming here back in 1990. In that 31 years, I've served on 5 different city commissions, including the Public Arts Commission, Downtown Waterfront Design Review Committee, Planning Commission, and the Heritage Preservation Commission. I've also been involved in that 31 years on many community, recreation, and professional volunteer involvements. In addition to that, I started my own business in 2009 after losing my job in the recession of 2008. My company is Meyer Group Architects. Went through a startup of my business from scratch. So I have quite a bit of knowledge of our entrepreneur organizational structure here in the city of Duluth. I decided to run for city council this last year after the pandemic and the social unrest that we experienced in 2020. Also have a son that is multiracial and wanted to have some control over the kind of city that my son grows up in. My campaign platform is based on getting back to the business of city government and improving the quality of life for all Duluthians. My top 6 campaign platform items include diversification of our economy in Duluth, creating more manufacturing and technology jobs, more industrial development, including more focus on green manufacturing and manufacturing of green products. This would be the effort of trying to increase the wage level for jobs and employment in the city of Duluth. We've done a good job in the past here of focus on tourism and recreation, but I think we need to have more emphasis on heavy industry and higher paying jobs. Another focus of mine would be to focus on repair and replacement of our streets and replacement of our aging infrastructure. The entire 30 years that I've lived here in Duluth, this has always been a challenge for us. And I know we've made some strides recently in this area, but we've got a large backlog of construction-related items that need to be addressed. My third focus here is expansion of housing options and increase the number of tiers of housing that we have here in Duluth. This includes options like tiny homes, affordable housing, mid to high-end housing, and looking at more options like rapidly deployable housing here in the city of Duluth. I also feel really strong about increasing level of diversity, inclusion, and equality for people of color in our community. And this includes more expansion of economic opportunities for people of color. I believe that bringing people out of poverty is the answer to solving a lot of the problems that we have here in our community. I also believe that we need to study the privatization of many of the city enterprises, including Spirit Mountain, the golf courses, Lake Superior Zoo, and our water and gas. Initially, I proposed that we study these options and look at the possibility of privatization of these enterprises in an effort to make them more profitable. The entire time I've lived in Duluth, these have been sources of high amounts of subsidy here in the city of Duluth, and I believe that we need to address making these things more profitable for the city of Duluth residents. Last thing here that I think is important, and this is in an era of people talking about defunding of the police, I believe that we need to increase funding for our police, firefighters, and EMS. I believe that more training, more new equipment, and higher paying jobs, higher paying salaries for our law enforcement is the answer to solving our reform of our police and law enforcement department here in the city of Duluth. They have a difficult job to do, and I think we need to be more supportive of our police. I believe that reform is needed. We need to work in concert with the police union to install a new culture of policing based on our long-term community-based policing system that we have here in Duluth.
Hello Duluth, my name is Nancy Stam and I'm running for City Council at large. I am so happy to be able to tell you a little bit about me so that you can have sort of an idea of who you're supporting. I have been a nurse since 1981. I was born and raised in Texas and moved here 2 years ago with my husband when he accepted a job with Essentia. He is a physician there. I have 3 adult children, all girls, and so that has been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed a nursing career, and I now work part-time at a local business just for fun. I love our city. It is a beautiful city. The lake is just bewitching. So I am very vested in making our city a vibrant hallmark city, booming as it did in years gone by. I see some untapped jewels. My priorities are health disparities, public safety, and small business friendliness. So what do I mean by health disparities? Not only physical or mental, but also a big chunk of it is environmental. By that, it encompasses the housing area where we can make it friendly for young couples just buying their first time home to set down roots here in this beautiful city. We need to look at the homeless situation and help with some of that disparity, and also tap into our industry. because it's a rich draw to this area. Public safety is important for tourism, especially with the idea of possibly bringing a cruise line in, which would be a wonderful industry for this city for small businesses. And we have to have something for them to do. Our Spirit Valley is an untapped just diamond. The Kmart area could be the art and antique district, and we could set up some sidewalk cafes and have the art antique district as well as our brewery district. And then also small business friendly. We need some enticements to spruce up Superior Street and the surrounding streets and make it a hallmark city. Together with Bentleyville, it's a great thing for tourists. But that's where public safety comes in, making it safe also for people that are staying at the hotels because of patients in the hospital that they may be visiting or business that they're here for. I embrace transparency and compassion and diversity. I am committed with progressive ideas for growth and prosperity. My problem solving is derived from my long career in nursing, and I call it ADPI, where you do assessment, diagnosis, plan, intervention, and evaluation. It doesn't always work the first time, so sometimes we have to go back to the drawing board and try again. I'm a very person that's strong in wanting to hear what people have to say, wanting to work with you, wanting to hear your opinions, because actually we work for you, and it's not the other way around. So we want to address your concerns. And let's just not forget potholes. There are some amazing alternatives to streets now, soybean technology that expands and contracts with the weather, so we can look at science for that. We might pay a little more up front, but it's like the proverbial little black dress. You invest in it and it has rewards years down the line. So that's me. I would so much appreciate your support, and I welcome any questions. I am on Facebook, and you can always reach me at 540-327-2734. Thank you.
My name is Therese Timonek, and I'm running for Duluth City Council at large, a position I currently hold as I was appointed over a year ago unanimously by my fellow councilors to fill the position of Barb Russ, my friend and mentor. When people ask me why I am running, I refer back to the quote of Albert Schweitzer. Those of you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. In my professional life, I live a life of service, being a healthcare provider and now a chaplain at a local hospital. I have learned in my work how to deeply listen to the concerns and interests of our residents and work towards advancing the vision of Duluth. In my personal life, my husband Steve Davis and I have been married for over 40 years, owned our home here, and raised our family, our adult children Mark and Hallie. We served many roles in the community in our places of worship, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, youth soccer, and PTA. We currently make sandwiches on a bi-weekly basis for Chum, and we cook for Loaves and Fishes. In my work on council, I've worked closely with fellow councilors, Mayor Larson, city administration, local unions, the Chamber of Commerce, and neighborhood community centers to make Duluth a great place to live. Shortly after I was appointed, I collaborated with fellow councilor Eric Forsman and area hospitals, businesses, colleges, and universities to pass the mask mandate to protect our residents and essential workers. We worked equally hard to amend that mandate in keeping with CDC guidelines and to help our area businesses get back to some sense of normalcy. I've been actively involved in helping craft the usage of the American Rescue Plan money, of which we received $58 million for the city of Duluth. We allocated nearly $20 million to affordable housing, directed money to lead remediation for all of our residents, including replacing the residential water meters at no cost to our residents, increased funding for our public safety training, and we established a public safety crisis intervention program We also provided $2 million to our parks and outdoor recreation spaces to take care of one of our most valuable assets, our green spaces. The parks are so important to me that I am hosting my campaign events Tuesdays with Therese at area parks. More information can be found at my website, thereseforduluth.com, and I hope you'll join me at one of those events. My commitment to serve includes also being on many boards and commissions. I currently serve on the Intergovernmental Relations Committee of the Duluth City Council, working with county commissioners and school board members to advance the goals of our region. I serve on the Area Regional Development Commission, the Public Works Commission, the Parking Commission, the Glensheen and Great Lakes Aquarium Boards. I am honored to be the president of the Lake Superior College Foundation, raising money for scholarships to train good workers making good jobs, good wages in our local businesses and industries. All of this work is done with the well-being of our citizens in mind. We all want good paying jobs, affordable housing, and helpful public services for us and our families. We want our businesses, large and small, to prosper and grow. We want to be open and inclusive to our BIPOC and LGBTQ residents, and we want to support them in their businesses and help them feel respected and included. These are my priorities if I am elected for the next 4 years. I ask for your support and to join with people and organizations who have endorsed me for election, including Mayor Emily Larson, former Mayor Don Ness, City Councilors Renee Vannett, Eric Forsman, Zach Filipovich, and Gary Anderson, County Commissioners Frank Jewell and Patrick Boyle, as well as the Central Labor Body, the Builders Union, the International IBEW, and the Iron Workers, as well as Women Winning and Stonewall DFL. In closing, the most important part of my work is being in relationship with you and to hear your concerns and vision for the city of Duluth. Please look at my website and contact me if you would like to talk about this further. Thank you for your support.
My name is Andrew Jaraki. I'm a lifelong Duluthian, and I'm running for City Council in District 2. Why am I running? Because I believe as we emerge from the pandemic, Duluth has more potential than anywhere else in the world. I believe in 3 simple ideas. Duluth should be the best place anywhere in the country and world to raise a family, to find a home, and to open a business. First, local leaders should be champions for local families. And on the council, I will be. For example, local working families have explained to me that one of their largest obstacles is finding reliable and affordable childcare, which is why on the council, I will make sure we use millions of our federal relief money to help alleviate the childcare crisis that was exacerbated by the pandemic. Families have also expressed to me a great desire for public safety, which is why, as your counselor, I will work closely with the Duluth Police Department to ensure we have local law enforcement that is both effective and accountable. I believe it is possible to both provide law enforcement with the resources they need to get their job done and sufficient citizen oversight to continue to deserve the trust of the public they serve. Next, I believe every Duluthian deserves a home. The unhoused and panhandling populations in downtown and Canal Park are stark reminders that we still have much work to do, which is why, on the council, I will convene an emergency task force to work closely with local service providers to find an effective and long-term solution for this vulnerable population. Speaking of vulnerable populations, I'm also incredibly concerned, as the Duluth News Tribune recently reported, that over 2,000 Duluth households are behind on power or rent payments and continue to wait for assistance. I've helped folks apply for tens of thousands of dollars in rental assistance, which is why I will use my knowledge of the system to be a fierce advocate for Duluth households. I will make sure every Duluth household receives the help that they deserve. Lastly, I believe our city needs a vibrant local economy. The website Wallet Hub recently ranked Duluth as the 1,082nd best small city in America to conduct business. Can we do better? Absolutely we can. On the council, I will push to invest in our local infrastructure that our businesses need to succeed. I will fill those potholes. And even more importantly, I will invest in our local port and transportation systems to ensure we have a world-class center of industry that will continue to provide good-paying jobs in the manufacturing, shipping, and transportation industries. I will also personally work closely with the Duluth Chamber of Commerce and the Downtown Business Council to ensure that we can right-size our regulatory and tax environment to allow local commerce to flourish and to attract even more good-paying jobs of every sector to our economy. In short, I want to be the champion of your family, of your home, and your business in City Hall. I believe Duluth has incredible potential, and we can work together to realize it. Duluth should be the best place in the whole world to raise a family, find a home, and open a business. My name is Andrew Jaraki, and I'm running for City Council in District 2. I'm excited to get to work for our city.
Hi, my name is Mike Mayo, and I'm running for Duluth City Council here in the 2nd District. As someone who grew up here in Duluth, out in the Lakeside neighborhood, and a union family, I understand the strong values of solidarity and standing up for the people of our city. Some of the things that I love about Duluth include our amazing access to Lake Superior, our system of parks and trails that are accessible to many folks across our city, as well as our beloved community that I have known and grown up in. I'm currently an employee at the University of Minnesota Duluth working in the admissions office, and I work part-time with our Duluth Public Schools in technology. I'm running because I want to be the counselor that will go to bat for you, the people of the 2nd District and the city, people of the city of Duluth. There are lots of problems that we need to address in Duluth, including housing, infrastructure, and creating an economy that works for all of us. All of that creates lots of work, and I'm committed to bringing strong, good-paying union jobs to our city. I'm running to ensure that Duluth is a city where everyone can thrive. Some of the issues I'm focusing on include being a responsive leader for our 2nd District. We have a strong history of having progressive, responsive counselors for Duluth's 2nd District, going back to counselors Patrick Boyle, Greg Gilbert, and Joel Cypress, our current counselor. I'm proud to have the support of all 3 of those former counselors. And as someone who's lived in Duluth my whole entire life, I understand what it means to have a counselor that will go to bat for you on the issues, no matter how big or small. Some of the other issues I'm focused on include affordable housing and access to housing across our city. Many people in Duluth, including myself, have found it very difficult to afford rent, make housing payments, and even find housing in the first place in our city. As someone who is a renter in the 2nd District and wants to buy a home in the next couple years, I understand how difficult it is right now, especially in our hot housing market, to find a house. I think it's important that we continue to invest in programs like Rebuild Duluth that are giving developers lots to help build affordable housing in our community, and that we continue to pre-commit dollars to attract state and federal funding for our affordable housing projects here in Duluth. It's extremely important that we are creating an economy that works for all of us. I understand what it's like to live in Duluth and work minimum wage jobs in our service and retail industry. And our workers cannot afford the cost of living in Duluth right now. That's why I'm a proponent of bringing a $15 an hour minimum wage to our city and also continuing to advocate for our city workers for better wages and better working conditions. As we're now seeing the effects of these wildfires, extreme drought, and extreme temperatures across Duluth and across our region, the climate crisis has kind of come home for many of us. And for me, growing up into a climate crisis, it's something I've never not had to deal with. As someone with asthma, it's very hard to go outside for me right now, and it's hard to just be outdoors in a city that is the best outdoor city in the US. We must radically transform our society and our economy, our industry standards, and our public utilities to best combat our current climate crisis. I'm a strong proponent of using comfort systems, our publicly owned utility, to help provide incentives for consumers to move away from gas as the primary source of heat in their homes. Investing in the Climate Action Work Plan and working on that and building it into the future, and exceeding our goals of 80% renewable energy by 2050 in the city of Duluth. In addition to environmental crises, we're also facing environmental racism across our city with a lifespan expectancy gap of 11 years from east to west. This is something that we need to address, and we need to look at new industries and developments in Duluth and their environmental impact on different neighborhoods. Additionally, within this past year, we've had many crises. With the murders of Breonna Taylor, Daunte Wright, and George Floyd, and many others across the United States, calls for racial and social justice have grown. I'm joining those calls, and I think it's important that we are investing in our crisis response team, which was just created through the American Rescue Plan funds. And we're investing in training for our firefighters and our police officers. And I look forward to working with our police department to transform the way that we're policing in Duluth. In summary, I am really proud to be running for Duluth City Council here in the 2nd District, and I really hope to be that counselor that you can go to and will go to bat for you on those issues that matter most, especially those of affordable housing, environmental justice, and creating a working economy that will work for all of us. I ask for your support this August 10th. Thanks.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Renee Vannett. I am otherwise called Councilor Vannett. I represent District 4, which includes Observation Hill, Lincoln Park, Piedmont Heights, Duluth Heights, and other areas of the town. I'm the 2021 Council President, and I have 2 kids who go to Denfeld High School who will be 10th graders this coming year. I am originally from northern Minnesota, via Red Lake, Minnesota. Moved down to Duluth when I was about 10, and we moved here for work and finding jobs. My dad's a iron worker, and he lifted iron here and built many buildings and a strong union family. That's where I get my experience and backbone from. I am running for re-election. I am running on economic development, housing, and public safety. I've done a lot of work in public safety over in my first term and prior to that. Prior to that, I served on city commissions, which was Citizen Review Board, Indigenous Commission, Civil Service, and dug in deep about how these jobs work for the city and how I best affect that as a volunteer. As a seated councilor, I helped push through and led the discussions around protective gear for our police departments and our city. I believe that the police officers needed to have protective gear so that they could protect themselves and then in turn protect us. I was happy to do that work and push that forward. That's something I'm proud of and something I felt like we needed to do and I would do again. In economic development, I think about broader things in the economy and developing and building. I think about jobs, but I also think about families and how families can get jobs and keep jobs so that they're happy and can raise their families here, which then adds to the tax base. So economic development is bigger box stores as well as everyday people getting jobs, and that's really important to me. Something they could be proud of and something that they can continue and teach their children to do. I also worked on housing in-depthly. I pushed forward a yurt community development, a pilot program, and I housed it in my backyard, and I worked with the city to push that through so that the city and the administration allowed us to have the yurt project on private property. And so we had private property yurts on private property and piloted it, and it was for the winter season, and it went really well. I support those types of housing issues as well as big project housing in the district that I represent. I think those are really, really important things to have. We need housing in a big way. I am grateful to be here, and I'm thankful for being able to do this work. I'm grateful for being council president this year, and I would appreciate your continued support so I could continue to do the work that the district I represent needs. Miigwech.